My name is Jody Thompson. My life changed forever on April the 27th, 2015. I'm a local of Poteau here in Oklahoma. Born and raised here my entire life. Reside in the home that I grew up in. Jeannie and I have been married since 1999, and I've been in law enforcement ever since. We were happy, small town family. 2 working parents and 2 sons, and we thought that was going to be it. April 27th of 2015, the call come over the radio through dispatch in reference to a young boy who had went to a neighbor's house and told her he thought his parents were trying to kill him. I was off duty, but the nature of the call, my previous experience in investigating these crimes, is why I decided on myself to go ahead and offer assistance to the on-duty shift. Early on, I had many occasions to investigate child abuse and child sex crimes. Some were just horrid and terrible. This evil's going on in our backyard, even in small town Poteau. Once I went into the house, I seen this young boy. His hands were still tied together. He was grossly underweight. You could see his collarbones. You could see every single rib in his body. He had cuts on his body, bruises from head to toe. He had a knot on his head, easily the size of a tennis ball. I've never got that out of my mind. I'd learned his name was John. The home that the child lived in, that was pretty horrendous. It was filthy, not very much food. The kid's bedroom was in disarray. There was a latch on the outside which showed investigators that this child had been locked inside from the outside. I was in that living room with him for a mere 10-15 seconds when I took him into protective custody and removed him from that home. I took him to the emergency room. I'll never forget the trip. He kept trying to tell me what had happened to him. He was just scared to death in the floorboard of my car. None of this will ever escape my mind. Due to his health state and injuries, he was admitted to the intensive care unit for a day and a half, 2 days. At that point, I just separated from the law enforcement side of it, and I stayed by his side the entire time at the hospital. I knew this was different. Nobody in Poteau, Oklahoma would have ever thought a case like this would happen, and it was going unnoticed. And so, personally and professionally, I vowed to try not to ever let that happen again. Through the investigation, I learned about the water abuse. It began with shower nozzles to the face. Once the boy got bigger, it went to a 55-gallon trash can full of water, and that's where the boy would be submerged, sometimes head first until he quit fighting them. But most of the time, he would be submerged up into his nose with the lid put on it. And many times, bags of ice would be put in there to make the punishment more severe. It was one of the worst things I've seen on a child that was still alive. The parents were both charged with 2 counts apiece, child abuse by injury and neglect, and they were sentenced to 35 years apiece. Once John was released, he went to a traditional foster home in Poteau. The entire time, he was just on my mind. I couldn't get him off of it. I couldn't sleep, I wasn't eating. I told my wife what had happened and that I thought that we needed this child in our home. We had a short conversation, but no plans were made. And so while Jeannie was at work, and unbeknownst to her, I made some phone calls. When she showed up that day and seen a strange kid in her front yard, I think she put 2 and 2 together pretty quick. Kind of a big surprise. And then she proceeds to tell me that she's pregnant again. So that was totally unexpected. John's transition into the family, it felt fluid to me, but early on there was a little bit of fear of the shower, obviously, food hoarding a little bit. I think to say that there won't be memories or issues that are lifelong would be naive. So he's working through it, and I think he's doing quite well. And now he's a straight A student. He's in the band. He's involved in community plays and drama clubs. He's doing really well. And then later, I was working with a child welfare worker when she gets a phone call. She's like, John's mom just had a baby in jail. And so she's like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, well, we're gonna go pick her up. That was an obvious no-brainer. We was going to adopt her as well to keep them intact. And about 24 hours later, we went to the hospital and picked her up and brought her home. My biggest fear was 2 children ending up in the system. Foster care home to foster care home to foster care home. And where they would end up, would they stay together? Would they get the individual attention that they needed? These kids, somebody's got to be their voice. And if it's not their own family and friends, then we got to be that voice. And we got to do whatever it takes to get these kids out of these situations. I think just God put it on my heart, my family's heart, and we brought these children home. Today, we wouldn't change it for the world.